You don't have to ask me.
Whatever it is to jump on.
What all the other? So what did the Prime Minister respond to, young lady?
He responded to the bush medicines aspect of it. He said that that bush medicines alone cannot cure you.
Oh, that's why he said that last night in the speech.
That's what I'm assuming. I'm not saying that he directly did it, but it's ironic that it tied in with what you said.
Yeah, and I did send a statement out about 2 days, the day before he spoke, so.
Yeah.
Well, we responded in an interview in regards to the fact that he said it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You consider it? It's going to be right behind it. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we need this. You don't see all the way down here, right?
No, it's just going to be face to voice.
Yeah, look like that. Gonna be seeing.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
No,
I have
thank
you.
you.
All right. We're gonna go record in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Alright, so you'll be looking here, okay?
Right here.
Maybe I should stand next to you.
Cause, yeah.
Okay, so for the record, just state your first and your last name, your position, the party you're for.
Yeah, my name is Ali McIntosh. I'm the servant leader of the Bahamas Constitution Party.
All right, and there's been some restrictions on the campaigning process, and those that are campaigning on the ground are required to be vaccinated. What say you?
Well, we understand the government's need their determination at least to control the COVID-19 and the surge that has happened. We do believe, though, that some of the restrictive measures that they've put in place regarding the campaigning is a little restrictive. We understand it can assist in terms of helping the spread of COVID-19, but when they made the specific request that candidates be vaccinated in order to campaign, I do believe that that is going just a little far in that regard. I think candidates should be allowed to move about. Of course, persons who are seeking high office definitely have a high degree of responsibility, and they should know how they should operate in regards to the policies. The BCP obviously supports the policies to keep the Bahamians safe, and we do believe that those policies, those protocols should be put in place. The Bahamas Constitution Party will not be highly challenged in this regard. We have run a basic campaign online through our website, through our social media platforms. We've determined with these new restrictions to allow our candidates to go door to door, basically to leave literature on the gate or at the door of the constituent. So we will be able to make it through those protocols without much. It is just a matter of the Bahamian people responding to the information being left by them, to them, or for them.
Is your party in support of the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccines, or are you just against the AstraZeneca vaccine?
No, our party is not in support of untested experimental vaccines on the Bahamian people. But we do support the right of Bahamians to choose what is best for their health. So if persons want to take the vaccines, they have the liberty to do so. What our party's biggest agenda is we are against force or any policy or legislation that puts in place mandatory vaccination. We do believe that probably more than 75 to 80% of the Bahamian people do not even want to take a vaccine for COVID-19. And so we support that, we stand with them, and we will provide resistance to the government if they take that demeanor or go in that direction in regards to force or mandatory vaccination for persons in the community.
Is there any COVID-19 vaccine that you would throw your support behind?
No. In fact, personally, I will not be vaccinated. I am not going to be vaccinated for the foreseeable future. I will not be vaccinated. I believe I'm taking that stand because the Bahamas Constitution Party supports the right of persons to say no if they want to. When there was the first rollout of this vaccination program, we came out in support of persons being able to say, we don't want it. If we don't want it, we looked at Article 16, which is a right to life. If a person thinks that something is going to take their life, they have a right to say no. Article 17 of the Constitution says if you think it's going to intimidate you to do it, or you may be injured by it, you have a right to say no. And then, of course, Article 22 of the Constitution says you have a right of conscience. And your conscience, if your conscience say no, you have the right to say no. And that's where the Bahamas Constitution Party stands in this regard. Of course, as the leader of the party, I stand personally that I will not take it. Now, one thing I can say in that regard is that we have not mandated our candidates to take it or not to take it. So candidates and leadership in our party, persons in our party, have a right to take it or not to take it based on their own personal conviction. Although the party does stand at the point that we do not, number one, want this experimental drug on the Bahamian people, and number two, everybody's got a right to say yes or no.
So if your party is to be the next government, how would you, what would be your game plan in getting out of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Number one, in the protection of the Bahamian people, of course, it is the government's job to put in place policies that makes that happen. Number one, let's talk about the borders. We believe that this government has really dropped the ball in that regard in terms of allowing persons who are vaccinated to come in the country without a test. Even the United States has determined that you must have a negative COVID-19 test in order to come into their country. I think that should have been the requirement, and we should not have allowed that to be dropped in terms of visitors coming in the country. In that regard, we believe this administration has determined to put money above the lives of the Bahamian people. So that is the first protocol that we believe should happen. The second thing is we believe testing is very important, and so we should remove the PCR testing. Of course, the CDC has said that there is fault in regards to the PCR testing. It should be replaced by the rapid antigen testing, and that rapid antigen testing should be free. So we do believe that we need to move these protocols regarding testing for the Bahamian people. I have no problem regarding the protocols, and I have no problem regarding testing. I do believe that the testing should be available to more people than is at this point. And of course, going throughout the country, we should not have that stringent oppressive measure of both PCR testing and travel visas on the Bahamian people. That has to be removed. And so we're calling for that to be removed also. Those travel visas, those PCR testing to going through the islands of the Bahamas.
The Pan American Health Organization they're asking and appealing to countries to worry less about economic recovery and worry more about the health and safety of their citizens and residents. Would you say the government of the Bahamas is more worried about money, economic growth, as opposed to the safety of Bahamians?
I do believe that is their demeanor to the greatest extent, in that they wanted to open the economy. We have no problem with opening the economy, but protecting the lives of the citizens is paramount, which means even though we do stand against a mandatory vaccination and even this experimental drug, as we say, and I think it bears repeating, that people have a right to take it if they wish, but the government of the Bahamas should stay with the protocols that are easier to be dealt with. So even though we are trying to balance the economy and safety, let's go with the protocols that we can live with, wearing the mask, sanitizing, social distancing, testing, and that's the way we should walk. And so the government, I think, in their desire to reopen the economy, is doing so with the extent is, let's just let the tourists in. We can't just say that. Everywhere else is asking for negative tests to enter their borders. I think the Bahamas must do the same thing. A BCP government will go in that direction so that we maintain that those variants or any other variants does not enter the country through people coming in as tourists and visitors to the country.
I think you made a suggestion about bush tea or a comment about bush tea. Can you elaborate?
Sure. I mean, yesterday in the Prime Minister's speech, he indicated that we should not even consider bush tea. We reject that unilaterally. Most of the persons, and I'm going to go with scripture as everybody have been quoting, in that the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nation. And the Bahamas is rich in terms of natural medicine, herbal medicine. A lot of universities in their research and development come to the Bahamas looking for alternative methods. And so they find it here, and we believe that the Bahamian people should look to some of these herbal alternative medicine. I think about the Prime Minister was out of order to suggest to the Bahamian people that they should not look to herbal medicines for a relief in regards to this COVID-19. The Bahamas, I myself and my family and my extended colleagues have all managed to stay safe with the protocols of alternative medicine, like cerasee, like aloe, like ginger, like abundant supply of vitamin C's and all of these bush medicines. In addition, we have allowed food to be our medicine and medicine to be our food. And when we say that, we want to encourage the Bahamian people to take that approach. One thing the government has dropped the ball on in two things. When we're talking about distributing of the food supply, they have not provided a lot of vegetables and fruits to be part of building the immune system for Bahamians. For a very long time during the pandemic, we were giving out food, and they were all dry foods. And we don't agree to just dry food to help with the building of the immunity. The government should have been giving out vitamins, in particular, a supply of vitamin D3 and zinc, which we know based on Dr. Kevin Bethel out of Grand Bahama, that these are medicines and vitamins that work specifically against COVID-19. And so we stand on that protocol, and we do believe, and I wish to I guess, rebuke the Prime Minister, that that is not the way to go. I think he should have been encouraging Bahamians to seek all alternative medicines in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to be able to build themselves and their immunity to become stronger in terms of fighting any variant that comes to the Bahamas.
All right, thank you so much, McIntosh.
You're welcome.
That wasn't so hard, was it? That wasn't so hard. You're an